It's approaching the supreme moment. Reality striking closer than it seems, don't it? Go ahead.
Hey, what's going on? So this video is going to be showcasing the 100% potential agility Tapion card. Now this guy is the Giants category lead, and pretty nice leader stats. +3 key, 150% to HP attack and defense, and also increases the amount of times you can go into giant mode for every single category fulfilled card. So that is actually pretty nice, and his passive is probably the focal point. Let it scroll back around, and I'll just go ahead and read it. So he's going to reduce 50% damage taken, and then once HP goes below 50%, attack is going to increase by 150%. Defense is going to go up by 50%, and for one time only, he's going to be able to go into the Hirudegarn form. Now, I actually went with a Giants category team. I don't play around with this category too much, even though I have Tapion myself, as you can see. But thanks to OG Dokkan Battle Pro for hitting me up about this 100% version. So we're gonna go ahead and test this out, and I think there's something I've been wanting to test with this anyway. How frequently Tapion will go into his Hirudegarn form. So that is going to be one of the key pointers here, and just keep that in mind. So you'll see quite a bit of that, because I actually wondered how often and continuously you could actually stay in that form. And the reason being, events like Super Battle Road, Extreme Z Awakening, or any tough Dokkan events, if you can continuously go into the Hirudegarn form, that makes life a lot easier, because not only are you not taking any damage, but you're also going to be able to attack at a pretty high level. So those are pretty important things to consider. So let's go ahead, and as you can see, he's already in the form and hitting for a little bit less than a mil. This is boss rush number 3, but he actually does pretty well. And as you can see here, my other Tapion card is in here, so he went into his form. So depending on how the rotation is set up, I mean, they could alternate going into their form of continuously, being in giant mode, I guess. So that's kind of an interesting way to think about it. Plus, you increase the chance of going into the giant form by 1 for every single card in the Giants category with this team. So it's crazy how other cards have the potential to also go into giant mode. So that's definitely an interesting concept. It's a little bit of a difficulty in terms of actually building a proper team for this. I actually have very little work done. I think besides Tapion, I think Nappa is probably the only one that actually has max SA on this team right now. I think everybody else is pretty much SA level 1 or 2 or maybe even 3. So that's the other thing. I think with proper work and everybody maxed out and maybe some work on the potential system, this team could actually surprisingly be pretty good. I know a lot of people kind of complain, including myself a little bit, about how this team isn't really that good. It's a little bit hard of a team to use, but I think it's actually pretty interesting now looking back on it. And again, not taking any damage is a pretty big incentive, especially for tough events, like I said. But let's go ahead and test out. Yeah, see, as you can see, like, it's so easy for this guy to go into the Hirudegarn form, because depending on how you end the battle, right? So let's say I just got done with the Goku event. Leave your HP at less than 50%. You go into the new one against Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta. Bam, you're already going to start off with that. And you can minimize damage taken, at least for several turns, depending on how the rotation is. If you have 2 Tapion cards, or even like the other Giants, it could be like a potentially continuous flow of being in giant or ape mode. So it's certainly an interesting team, and I haven't played around with it enough to really know that detail of information, like what recommendations I have or whatever. But it's definitely interesting, and you know, you can see it in the video here that he goes, he actually goes into that form quite a bit. Majority of this video, more than likely, is going to be him in the Hirudegarn form. So it's certainly interesting, and I haven't really, you know, talked about, you know, the damage potential much, but I mean, he's pretty solid. I mean, we'll go ahead and see here off of a regular attack with no, you know, no super attack, what kind of damage we're looking at. I mean, about 250,000, so I mean, that's really not bad. And it's, the funniest thing for me though is like why they gave him the ability to dodge. I mean, you're not taking any damage anyway. Like, for me, I thought it was kind of funny. All right, so we're on the Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta event, so let's switch things up a little bit and see how Tapion is actually at 100% in his regular form. So we'll see what his damage potential is like against Vegeta here. And even like his damage, you know, reduction capabilities, you know, you really didn't see much here, but you know, 40,000 damage against Vegeta really isn't bad. And you're looking at about 780,000 in potential damage, with the damage reduction about 654,000. So pretty good overall firepower, along with, you know, his ability to go into giant form, and you know, his passive is the biggest selling point. Now, to fully benefit from that 150% boost, you know, unfortunately HP has to go below 50%, so it can be a little bit tricky how that's utilized to the max. But you know, when he goes into this form though, he's I mean, he's real easy to use. I mean, it's, you know, you're just kind of coasting in a way. But yeah, I mean, I think he'll definitely be a great help in, you know, events like Super Battle Road for sure. I haven't really tested it out myself, but I think anything that would help you, you know, not only does Tapion have the 50% damage reduction ability as part of his passive, but also going into this form is going to drastically help reduce, you know, total damage taken. So it's certainly interesting to think about that. I don't know how many of you guys tested, you know, this format out on, I don't know, like a Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta team, or I don't know if, well, you can't really use a revive warrior category, because, you know, Angel Golden Frieza is an intelligence type anyway. But you know, if you guys have tested it out on Super Battle Road, let me know if he's of any benefit, if he helps out in any way. Alright, so yeah, we're just continuously going through this you know, form. I feel like 90% of this video is him in the form of Hirudegarn, but you know, it is what it is. I mean, that's, you know, I really didn't like, the last time I did a showcase video, I didn't show this form too much, so I think it was a good thing that I switched things up a little bit. But yeah, it's certainly a real interesting card. I actually like Tapion. The agility one, I think when I initially pulled him, I was trying to figure out ways to use him, but honestly, on a Revive Warrior category team, he's real easy to use, and you know, he's got some decent firepower too, and the ability to tank definitely does help. You know, it's pretty amazing on how little damage he'll actually take as part of that passive. So you know, as you can see, you know, he's continuously going into his form, and the leader skill ability of increasing the frequency by 1, you know, that certainly helps. And then, you know, if you have 2 of the agility Tapions in the team, it's just, you know, once you go through that cycle, it could be potentially, you know, like continuous, you know what I mean? So that's definitely a pretty interesting concept and team build. Like I said, I haven't played around with it too much, but you know, it's certainly interesting. And you know, I don't know, maybe a lot of you guys use the Giants category team a lot. You know, I still need to do a lot of work on mine and build up the team for that. It's probably, you know, really weak, if I'm being perfectly honest, so definitely needs a lot of work. But I think with the proper work and correct building, I think it'd be a really good team. But yeah, you just saw Dokkan mode. I think, what was it, about 700,000 against Cooler. Obviously not anything crazy, but that's not really this guy's biggest selling point. You know, the biggest incentive and benefit he provides is, you know, the ability to tank and also go into his giant form. That's really the selling point. But, you know, the ability to hit 500 to 700,000 really isn't bad either. So, you know, it's certainly a very interesting card, and I'm glad that you know, OG Dokkan Battle Pro hit me up and let me test out the 100% version. So very, very interesting guy, that's for damn sure. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video and you know, found it interesting as much as I did. So I'll catch you guys later.